CTP here again. Today I wanted to go over a few antennas that I use for portable operations. You can see some of my videos on YouTube already with a couple of them. I believe I have the buddiepole and a video with the buddiepole, I should say, as well as the super antenna. I have a couple other antennas that I also use while I'm out and about. So we'll start with this one. And this is the ATX walkabout antenna, the MFJ version actually. And it telescopes out approximately 5 feet in length. This one I've used. I don't have a video out, and I will be showing deployment and as well as the use of each of these in later videos. I'll do them one at a time to make it easy, just to show how fast they can go up and that kind of thing. On this particular antenna, there is a shorting lead that you plug into the bottom here, and then you short it out up here depending on which frequency you want to use. It works pretty good. I made a little base here for it. I took a camera mount base, and then I cut a piece of PVC, which I painted black obviously, and put it on there, and I cut this slot in there. And what happens is the antenna goes in here, and then the wire, I got a 90-degree BNC connector on my coax, comes out of the bottom here. And so that stands relatively decent when it's up there. I'll show you how that looks when it's in there. And there's the base, and you can see what I got is a BNC to BNC female connector, because the coax that I use, and I don't know if I happen to have that handy right here or not. Oh, I do. The coax that I use, and I'll show you how that goes on real quick. I put this 90-degree connector on there, and then that slides in here like that, and then that just sits right in there like that. Oops. And it works out. It works pretty good. You got to get the balance right and everything, but anyways, there it is. So that would be this is the MFJ version, and I forget what the actual model number is on this, but it's the other version is an ATX walkabout. Pretty good antenna. I've made a few contacts with it, and we'll be testing that one out later. So that's one of the ones that I bring with me. These I've used with the KX3, and these are tuned to each band. This one's a 2 meter, which I don't have the 2 meter kit, but this one's 18 megs. And I bought these on eBay. They screw right in. They telescope up. They're loaded coils, kind of like, you know, pretty much a dummy load for the most part. But they do work, and I have made connections. This one's 10 meters, and I got a 14 meter one. They work. Obviously, it's a compromise, but you know, it's a telescoping. These stand. This one particular one, the 14 megahertz one, is about 4 feet overall in length, and they're all about the same size. They tune well. It's a compromised antenna after all, but they do work fairly decently. Nothing that you're going to get a lot of great range out of, but they will work for sure. Let me get back over here. Okay, so my next one, we'll go with this one, and this is the super antenna. The weight, I'm going to say, you know, let me fix this camera here a little bit. The weight, you know, it's a few pounds, but it comes in a nice bag that you can carry with you. And then everything you need is in here. I even have a coax in here. So we'll take a look at this. Oops. There's a pen. So there's what I have in particular for mine is two bases. One is a low profile base, which is only stands a couple inches off the ground. I'll show you that one real quick. So these screw on here. And you know, you want to be careful when you screw them in because you don't want to cross thread it or anything, so get the angle right here. And it can be a little tricky to get them in. But like I said, you don't want to strip them in there. So there's the base, and then you put your two rods on it. You got two of these extension rods, and then this one in particular has a. This is your loading coil. It's like a screwdriver antenna. So, so this goes on. You have another one of the. Oops, yeah, dropping everything. This rod would go on here, and then this would go on top of all that, which I can do real quick here. I'll put it right on the ground. So, and I'll just put it together a little bit. Again, this is the super antenna. So that's on there like that. And then you have either the telescopic whip, which I have, or you can get the titanium whip, which is one that I use a lot. I don't know why. The telescopic one works fine too, but that just screws onto the top of there. And then how you adjust this to frequency is by sliding this up and down. You can see the coils in there. I'll give you a little better close-up of that. So these coils, and this will go way up. Of course, I'm hitting the ceiling in here, but that's how you adjust your bandwidth, let's say, or your frequency. And then, so you get it all set up, and they do come with a little plastic card to get you in the general area. Let me get that out. So this as well comes with it. This is the card that you use, and what you do is you hook it on here, and you bring it up to whatever the range about your frequency that you want to be on. And you can see on here it starts way down here at 10 meters, and then it goes all the way up to 40 meters. So let me pop this part of the antenna off here because my ceiling's low in here. So you hook that on the bottom, and it's made that way. And then if I was to raise it, it's not easy. All the way up, so now I'm up in the 30 to 40 meter range there. Show you that, just kind of give you an idea. And then it comes with a couple other loading coils too for 60 and 80 meters. I happen to have the 80 meter coil here, and this one says its range is good for 3.5 to 4.8 megahertz. So this is the 80 meter loading coil. Now what you would do is put this loading coil on. So you would unscrew this, and then you would screw this one into here and put this loading coil on if you wanted 80 meters, and then put this on here again with your whip coming off the top, and your coax connects to the base here at the bottom down here. and that gives you 80 meter capabilities. I haven't used it on 80 meters actually, but when I do the test with the individual antennas, I'll do each one individually, and we will test that out. Another thing that it comes with is these ground radials. It comes with one kit of them, but you can get other kits that will give you different lengths for different, for say the 80 meter. And what this comes with is this type of connector on the end. Spade, female spade connector. And there's 4. If you look here, you'll see there's actually 4 wires into that one. And then those connect right on the bottom there for your ground plane or your radials. And this particular mount, you can put 2 sets of them on there. So really you could have 8. And like I said, they make them in various lengths. This one in particular is the standard one that they give you, and it seems to work rather well. I haven't had much problem. I've made contacts on several bands. Offhand, I know 40 and 6 meters. I've gone all the way down to, or all the way up to 6 meters and all the way down to 40 meters. And it seems to work pretty good with just this one set. But you can buy other ones, or you can make them. I mean, it's easy enough to put a spade connector on and attach your wires and cut them to length. So that's another thing that it comes with. And then one other thing that I purchased is this piece right here. Now they make a tripod that's just like any other camera tripod, but this one screws on to the tripod, and that gets you up off the ground a little bit. I think with the tripod it gives you probably another 3.5 to 4 feet off the ground. It just screws on the top there. The antenna goes in here, your coax goes in the bottom, and then again you got your male spade terminals here to connect your counterpoise to. So that's the super antenna. That one works. I believe on my Moda video, Marsha's on the Air, I have that one set up as well as the buddy pole. Which brings me to the next antenna. So this is the buddy pole, and I've used this on several occasions. And I actually, when I first started ham radio 5 years ago, I think 6 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, can't remember offhand right now. This was the first antenna that I bought because I wanted the portability with my KX3. This is another comes in a kit. I didn't buy any other accessories, everything that came in this. This is actually the mini buddy pole. Folds up into a nice bag, and this is light. It's actually much lighter than the super antenna, I bet by 1.5 pounds or so. It's thin. I got my coax, it's right in there, everything's in there. So really I could just take this and bring it right with me with the KX3, and I don't need anything else, which makes it nice. So in the kit, you get, well, we'll start right at the beginning. So you'd have your T connector, which you can make an L, and they do sell ends for this, so you can come up with other configurations, inverted V, a V, that they would screw onto here, and then you can turn your arms whatever way you want. Which I have not purchased. It seems to work pretty good as a dipole configuration. That's how I normally run it, just coming straight off the ends. You get 4 of these, which go into here, 2 for each side. Now the regular buddy pole comes with longer versions of these, but being as though this is the mini buddy pole made for more portability, they cut them down, so I believe they're 13 inches long. And then you have their loading coil, which would go on next. And that screws right in there like that. So this is a tapped loading coil. and here's the end. It plugs in. You get a bag of the taps that you hook onto the wires here, and then you plug that in, and that's for tuning, obviously, depending on which frequency you want to be on. And then in the end of that, you'd put these telescopic whips. Now these telescopic whips that come with it, I believe, go out 9 feet. So the overall length of this is about 20 feet. I may be wrong on that. I think it might be 18 feet total length when it's all done and stretched out. You can also buy longer whips, and they sell them there at buddiepole. And after looking them up, I found that they were actually, the longer ones were cheaper there than they were at MFJ, surprisingly enough. And that takes a 3/8 by 20 thread on the end. And they sell a longer one, which I'd like to get just to increase the overall size of the antenna. I think that would be helpful. Although the performance on this is really good. I've had really good success with this. One in particular, another video of mine, Flota, Frozen Lakes on the Air. You'll see this in. It's also the picture on my QRZ page. And it works out rather well. It's a nice antenna. It's pretty compact. I really like both of these antennas. I've had good luck with the super antenna as well as the buddiepole. For compromised antennas, they both work very well. So, like I said, the one advantage I think to this one is it's a little bit lighter. So if you're traveling further distance or up a bigger mountain, let's say, and you want to try and cut some weight off, you know, I mean, that you might want to go with the buddiepole. It also comes with a coax. So when you buy this antenna, you pretty much have everything you need to go out there. You don't need to buy anything else. And the same with the super antenna. The only thing different is, well, I can't say that with the super antenna you have to buy your own coax. The buddiepole actually supplies you with a coax, which is kind of a nice feature. And then they give you all this literature. This one in particular shows you the operating and how to tap the coils, and it gives you down here a basic idea of where they should go on the loading coils just to get you in the ballpark. It's a good system. It works pretty well. And like I said, it's one of the antennas that I really like. So there's one more antenna that I want to show you. And this is a HF to VHF multi-band antenna. And this one in particular is made by a couple companies. It's like the ATX walkabout, except it's slightly larger. The one that I have bought here in particular is a Chinese knockoff, let's say. And I have not put this one up yet and used it, but we're going to. Here's the frequency chart on there. You can see that. And then on the back, it gives you, again, the basic placement, where the jumpers go, how long the whip should be coming out the top. And here you got the shorting lead. You got a rubber grommet for your antenna connection, and you have the Allen wrench. I'll pull this out so you can see that. So again, like the ATX walkabout, this goes in here. So what you got is, and that's what the Allen wrench is for. If you look right here, you can see the Allen wrench hole, and this adjusts this part of the whip, so it can go up or down, depending on, like I said, again, what frequency you're on. And then this goes into here, goes into there, and then you tighten that Allen wrench up there, and then your shorting lead goes in the bottom here, and then depending on which band you want, in the other holes up on top. This has a regular PL259 on the end. I haven't made a base for it yet. Still trying to figure out what I want to do. I was thinking about maybe making one for my tripod. I got some bulkheads, and I'll just use a piece of metal. I thought maybe I'd make something like the super antenna base for it out of a piece of metal, you know, aluminum or something, so that I can put some of those stabs on there and use a counterpoise kit on it. I think that might work well. Again, I will, this is another one we'll get set up. I'll make a base for it, we'll set it up, and we'll check out the performance on it. Kind of a neat antenna. I think this is made by Opek, maybe? I can't remember. I bought it off of eBay, and it seems to be relatively well made. As good as the other one anyways, the MFJ one, so we'll give that one a go, and we'll see how these all work out. So later on, like I said, I'll do an individual test of each antenna outside when the weather gets a little better, if I get a nice day, and so you guys can see exactly how all these perform and function in real time as far as putting them up. They all go up pretty quickly. This one I don't know about, but obviously there's not much to it, so I would imagine that one's pretty quick. The buddy pole and the super antenna, I mean, you're talking 5 minutes worth of work, you know, maybe 10 if you're a little slower or you take your time, but you can whip them up pretty quickly and get them out there. If you have an antenna analyzer, obviously it's much easier to adjust the bands on them, and with a lot less effort than going to your radio and tuning it up that way. So they're all good antennas, and most of them I've used and been able to make contacts with. There's compromises and advantages and disadvantages to all of them, and I guess it's just a matter of preference and what you're looking for. So we'll see you on a later video, and I'll explain a little further each one in more detail.